Have you ever seen a show where the core concept of the premise is that the main character wants someone else to be the main character? Kuroko no Basuke is a basketball sports anime where the title of the show says it's about the main character, but his method of playing basketball doesn't want him to be the main character. We follow the story of a quiet, reserved, and easily overlooked high school boy named Kuroko. Compared to other basketball players, he's subpar in all aspects. He's not fast, he's not strong, and he can barely score. So what does he do and why does he play basketball? This is the story of Kuroko and how his way of basketball made others become the main character. In the first episode, we're introduced to the backstory of a middle school basketball team called Teiko. They're said to be an incredibly strong team with 3 consecutive champion wins. Amongst their astonishing record, there was a group of prodigies that won those records for the school. They were the generation of 5 prodigies, known as the worst generation. Generation of miracles. However, there was a strange rumor that went around concerning the generation of miracles. Despite being relatively unknown and a lacking game record, there was one more member recognized by the 5 prodigies, a phantom 6th man. Fast forward to the present time at the start of the year, we're in a school called Seirin Private High School. With freshmen coming in, there's a big event where school clubs are trying to recruit newer members. One of them is the basketball club. While this might be the time for a show to introduce the protagonist, we're instead introduced to Kagami Tiger. In literature, he is what we call a deuteragonist, the secondary main character per se. Instead of club members recruiting him, he chose to walk to the basketball registration table on his own. He doesn't really give off a pleasant first impression. He seems rather cold and detached, not caring to explain to his seniors why he wants to join. He's from America and has years of experience with basketball. After that brief interaction, he then boasts his confidence by trick-shotting his empty paper cup. With his attitude, Kagami is essentially making a remark that he wants to be the star main player. During their first club gathering, Coach Rico examines all of the players' physique and skill potential. As we get to Kagami, he lives up to the expectations. He possesses extraordinary skill, a strong physique, and limitless potential. Standing in front of Coach Rico was Kuroko. He was supposed to get his performance analysis, but his presence remained unnoticed by everyone until now. Coach Rico couldn't comprehend how someone like him could hide in plain sight. On top of that, he's from the renowned Teiko Middle School that dominated basketball championships, so he must be good as well. As Coach Rico analyzes Kuroko, she's disappointed with the outcome. Kuroko's performance all looks below average. In fact, he supposedly is almost reaching his limits in basketball. She thinks to herself how someone like him was able to gain the respect of the generation of miracles. Later that evening, Kagami encounters Kuroko and challenges him to a duel. He's been playing against weak opponents lately and just wants a challenge for once. He remembers Kuroko was playing with the generation of miracles, so he assumes Kuroko must also be good at basketball. To his disappointment, Kagami overestimated Kuroko's ability, since he's not that good at all. Kuroko is hardly any better than an amateur at dribbling or shooting. There seems to be nothing good about him. As Kagami is about to leave, he makes a pretty harsh statement to Kuroko that he should just quit basketball outright.
最後に一つ忠告してやる。お前、バスケやめた方がいいよ。
However much you try to cover up your deficiencies with pretty words like effort, raw talent is a fact of life, and Kuroko has no talent for basketball. This is when we start to see the clash in psychology between the 2 main characters. Kuroko completely rejects Kagami's way of thinking. In Kuroko's mind, he just loves basketball. He doesn't care about who's strong or who's weak. He has his own way of basketball. For the next club practice, the first years are up against the second years in a game. At the start, Kagami is holding quite the fight. He's jumping, dunking, and defending from all the second years. He looked pretty unstoppable, and the first years were about to get away with the win, until the second years decided to step up their game and mark Kagami with even more defenders. There were 3 on Kagami if he had the ball, and usually 2 marking him from getting the ball. Suddenly, the game is in total favor for the second years. During their timeout, Kuroko asks his teammate if he could pass the ball to him. As Kuroko gets the passes, he turns those passes into more passes. All of a sudden, his teammates are getting the ball unexpectedly and scoring without any problem. The ball is being passed and the first years are making shots before the second years even realize it. How is this happening? We start to see the hidden ability that Kuroko possesses. Without having to touch the ball for long, he is using his lack of presence to pass. It's as if he's purposely hiding his already weak presence even more. He's essentially using a technique used in sleight of hand called misdirection. He's drawing his opponent's attention away from himself onto the ball. This is how Kuroko excels at playing basketball, and the reason why the Generation of Miracles recognized him as the Phantom Sixth member of their group. But how does Kuroko's way of basketball make others become the main character? Towards the end of the episode, we start to see a closer relationship being formed with Kagami and Kuroko. While Kagami says he doesn't like playing with people who are weak, Kuroko has earned his respect. He then asks Kuroko just how strong the Generation of Miracles are, and without hesitation, Kuroko just says that he would be destroyed completely. The 5 prodigies each have distinct playstyles and have gone on their separate ways to play for their own school. They had no competition and decided that they would compete against each other to see who would stand at the top. Hearing this, Kagami gets riled up and is the kind of thing that lights a fire within him. He's decided that he will crush all of the Generation of Miracles and become Japan's best player. While this is definitely an ambitious goal, Kuroko outright says that it's not possible for him. Unless Kagami has a hidden talent that Kuroko doesn't know about, his current skill level wouldn't even reach their feet. Kuroko says he can't do it alone, and this is where he steps in. He's decided that he'll be the shadow to the light. The brighter Kagami shines as a star player, the darker the shadow Kuroko becomes and the more it accentuates the brightness of the light. Kuroko says he will make Kagami the best player in Japan.
君という光の影として僕も君を日本一にする
Kuroko no Basuke really brings to light the power of selflessness and the strength it takes to step back and let others shine. In a world that constantly celebrates the brightest stars, Kuroko shows us the hidden value of being the one who supports, lifting others up without needing the spotlight. What Kuroko no Basuke offers is a surprisingly motivational and engaging story set in a high school basketball setting. It's not just about being the best and winning games, it's a reminder that you can still be the star of your own story, while supporting others reach their dreams. The rest of the story follows Kuroko, Kagami, and Seirin High School playing through each of the Generation of Miracles, and there will be times when other Generation of Miracles play against each other. If you're curious to find more about the story of Kuroko no Basuke, then I highly recommend giving it a chance.